They told me not to return. They warned me that I would suffer, that I would regret it. I had already experienced this suffering before, but that pain had become a distant memory now, faded. And I was different now too, stronger, more aggressive, relentless. I thought I was prepared to face the Wild West of Path official servers. I thought I knew what to expect, but I was wrong. Path of Titans now has nesting. Babies can either be spawned into the available eggs in a player's nest, or they can be adopted as juveniles. Either way, you can pick your own skin, so that's pretty ideal. I actually haven't done anything on Path in, I don't know, probably a year or so. So against my better judgment, I decided to join my friends when they told me that Path's Sado was a monster. Quick disclaimer though, like 2 days later, after deciding that yes, they were correct, this little twerp got a complete makeover and I am going to stay mad about it. Give me back my kick. I don't want to be a corpse bully here too. Anyway, as there is no passive growth on the official servers, I spent the next several days questing to grow. At least now you can get growth from going to new areas you haven't explored yet. I don't recall if you did previously, but that was by far the most efficient way to grow. There's new and aggressive AI now as well, which is, in my opinion, so much better than AI that only exists if you dug up burrows. It makes the world feel much more alive, even if their constant screeching gets incredibly annoying sometimes. AI tortoises, though, are not the only danger to a young, chunky little Sado. As we were distracted, a Latin appeared, and then a second. One pounced farmer, and I went after the other. Movement in Path is still incredibly limiting, but my goofy baby Sado did her best to try and kick the Latin off her technically older brother. I failed in that endeavor, but did bite the second one and finished it off. The other one dismounted and attempted to run as the scorpions had debuffed it with their venom. But I was able to successfully kick it once again. Eventually it jumped onto another rock and pretty well stayed there, so we moved on. Latins, however, continued to plague us throughout my growth. The next day, and not much further along, another attacked. I missed. No, you don't, little bugger. What is he thinking? Get back here!
I don't know what that means.
Missed my crash. Oh, he's pouncing you. Can I bite him?
Bite him. Bite him. You can.
I'm trying to not bite you. Am I biting him? There we go. Or am I biting you?
I think.
No, I was biting him. You're not very injured. Gotcha. Nice thrash.
He's hurt.
Yep. I don't know what he was thinking. Like, a little chicken?
Yeah.
Come here. Ah, I got another thrash on it.
Stars, he's dead.
Truthfully, I'm not really sure what his plan was. Even in pouncing, he was vulnerable to being attacked, and before long he was attempting to flee. Which is all well and good for him, but he severely underestimated my ability to find a way up, despite my very tiny jump. Now, we had a trophy. I'd use it to grow faster, once we healed up anyway. The next time I logged in, I was very close to full grown. Just a few more quests and I'd be ready to hunt apexes or something. Fairly hungry, we came across a baby Tyranotitan. He gave up immediately, which was slightly less thrilling for a fight than I hoped. But see, when you die as a juvenile on official servers, you lose less growth than you gain by potentially spawning in a new area your growing dino hasn't been to yet. So he was likely just accepting and hopeful to get a good respawn. Fully grown now, we made our way to Big Quill Lake. Our intention was to go to Salt Flats, a notorious area for clan warfare. We weren't looking for clans though. We just wanted to find something solo and big that we could fight. So when we spotted the Pycno, we were excited. This was going to be fun. Except he was younger than expected too. And as soon as he realized he couldn't escape, he opted to drown himself. Disappointing. Having found only an incredibly massive clan on the Salt Flats, we continued onward to Green Valley. Much of the area was quiet, simply nothing happening. And then I spotted it. Land Sarco. The distant cousin of the notorious Land Dino. And it was far from water. Guys, I found a Land Sarco! He was confident, but so were we. And then he ran out of stamina. Oh boy, now we had him exactly where we wanted him.
Oh, he's showing.
Yeah.
Careful.
I'm alright. He gave me a new scar, possibly.
Oh yeah, I got one on my face. Okay.
Missed me.
Oh yeah, he's in trouble. I got
Ooh,
one
that
in
one.
this
Ooh,
section.
I'm worried he's gonna try and get to the water is the thing.
Yep. I'm just doing thrash on him.
Yeah. He's moving toward the water. We gotta try and stop him.
Yeah.
Wait. It's...
He's showing,
death
he's
scars,
showing.
Death scars! Get him!
He's gonna die. He's gonna die.
Yes! Victory tastes sweet when it comes on the scales of a land sarco. Having healed up, we continued taking a wander and happened to spot a Tyranotitan alongside what I believe was a dasp. Don't come for me if that's not what the thing was, though. I'm a simple IO player at heart. I don't know all these wacky dinosaurs. Anyway, we'd been looking for a fun fight, and this one looked completely ridiculous, in all the right ways. The pair of them played cautious, sticking to the cliffside. I played cautious as well. I'm not, by any means, an experienced player in Path. And truth be told, I was nervous fighting the newest apex in the game. Then again, when they called in their Lambio friend, things got a bit wild. Farmer rushed into the middle, luring the dasp away from the rest. He was our target. Everything went south, though, when they got us completely separated. The Lambio was on my tail, and the other two were after Farmer. I juked the herbivore and darted after the others to back him up as best I could. All I could do was play distraction. The dasp was hurt, but so was Farmer. We had to back down before one of us was killed. Dang it. Sometime later, we spotted what appeared to be a lone aloe. Okay, finally. This would be a fun fight. And then he proceeded to jump into the river and drown himself. Well, that's disappointing. We were hungry, too. What a pain. Upon wandering into Dried Lake, we spotted an amarga. It was still fairly small, but it was big enough to hold its own, at least against serratos. We just had to avoid being tail-whipped as well as stomped. As we fought, a dasp arrived as well from the nearby home cave. Looking to rescue his friend, I guess. Farmer flipped around to fight the dasp, while I finished off the amarga. And then, in very typical farmer fashion, as we had gone to visit Grand Plains and found a whole lot of nothing there, he somehow died tripping over a crack. Fun times. It's Path, though, so he was back and fully grown again within 10 minutes. Or at least, that was the plan. But first he hopped on his little bird and checked out Salt Flats. There, he saw an Achillo and 2 Latins. Not too bad. We figured we could take him. He waystoned me over, then swapped to his Serato, and I did the same for him. As I waited, the 2 Latins came to to watch, knowing they'd be able to deal more damage to whomever arrived as long as they were still laying down. I jumped them as they tried to jump Farmer, and soon they went scurrying down the hill toward their Achillo. The plan was to target him specifically. Take out their Raptor King, we topple their strength, right? Wrong. Suddenly, there were 4 Latins. We had underestimated their numbers. And then the Packy arrived as well. Oh. We had severely underestimated this group. Man. And people complain about Pounce in the Isle being too strong and Bucking being too weak. This was absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, about 10 minutes later, we had waystoned back together at Broken Tooth Canyon, regrown to full, and were back on the prowl. Having heard the waystone being used, we wandered over there to investigate and found an adult Amarga. I gave it a quick nibble as it was standing up, just before the Dinokairos appeared. Oh boy, now we really had a fight. The Kairos turned to Waystone in their next buddy, and I took advantage of the distraction to attack. We did not need more large herbivores here. This fight was already not in our favor at all. And then the stego that initially brought in the Amarga returned. Shoot. This was getting to be less ideal by the second. And then the Miragaya and second Amarga arrived as well. Yeah, we decided to leave. This was now downright impossible. With the herbivore herd of doom making their way to Green Valley, we continued through and back into Dried Lake, where we found a Suko. I'm going to guess that we do not know the etiquette of path officials or something, because I swear, anytime we came across anything that wasn't full grown yet but was also alone, they either ignored us entirely until we attacked, or they simply laid down and let us kill them. Anyway, the Suko fought back as best he could. Path movement restrictions and such really were not in his favor, unfortunately for him. We were hungry though, and extremely grateful for the meal. With nothing much going on except this horrendously thick fog, we started to move back toward the salt flats. We were still really hoping to find a solo titan to fight. On the way there though, we heard a familiar sound. Picno. This guy was much bigger than the previous one we'd chased into the lake. But even though he was larger, he was incredibly skittish and opted to flee instead of holding ground and fighting back. His charge allowed him to gain ground, but he ran out of stamina long before we did. So you know how I mentioned that we'd been searching for a solo titan? Well, we spotted one speaking in local chat, and spent the next 30 minutes tracking it from salt flats all the way to burned forest. When we finally found it just up the hill, we prepared ourselves for the battle of our lives. Oh yes, we were ready. We went in for the initial ambush, both thrashing it. As expected, it moved to a more defensible position. As I prepared for my next attack, though, he sat down and just gave up. I honestly don't even know what to say. Never have I ever been more disappointed playing a PvP game. So anyway, with that disappointment riding on our shoulders, we returned to Salt Flats where we found a Megalania. Previous experience on Aloe on unofficials taught me one thing. Megalania is ridiculous and I despise it. You don't find many solar players on the official servers of this game. And honestly, I don't blame people for not playing alone because clans are everywhere. And solo players get absolutely mobbed by groups of multiple apexes and their smaller, faster handlers. As he began to flee, we didn't hesitate to chase after him. Which was fine, until we realized he was running for the water. Now, him going into the water was annoying, sure. But okay, understandable, have a nice day. Him going into the water only because he was calling forth his buddies from the nearby home cave, though. Well, I am sorry, path enjoyers. I am doing my best not to be negative about the game because I know different people have different tastes. But boy, oh boy, was I getting tired of starting a fight with one or two things that we could reasonably fight fairly, only for them to call forth their friends from the underworld to rescue them when things go south. Anyway, the Titan arrived, beat Farmer all to heck, and we had no choice but to flee. Again. Oh, and though we technically escaped the Titan in Megalania, Farmer was spotted by some little juvenile, and he, being one tap, got killed by the angsty little thing for his trophy. Immediately after I healed up, I began to make my way out of the flats. My goal was just to meet back up somewhere else while Farmer did 5 more quests to regrow again. As I was making my way towards Stego Mountain though, A Packy noticed me and decided to be a Packy player. Doesn't matter which game out of the big three you play, y'all know what I'm talking about. I wasn't particularly interested in a fight, but he certainly decided that I needed to be. I'm honestly not a huge fan of the precision movement in Path. I've said it once before, but it's not actually that useful in most cases. Regardless, I managed to make it work at least enough to teach him that I was not the easy target he thought I was. And ultimately, when I kept on him despite it all, he took advantage of the home cave in order to escape the respawn he deserved. Incredibly frustrated, but at least having met back up with Farmer again, we returned to scouring the salt flats for prime targets. When I spotted an iguanodon, we both got excited. Now there was a proper hunt. The Iggy didn't want anything to do with us though, which only bolstered our desire to catch him. He had shown fear, the worst mistake you can make in front of a carnivore. We chased him until his stamina was low enough that he stopped fleeing and turned to fight.
Gonna ride me?
Crashed.
Crashed him.
Betrayed.
He's out of stam.
Barely touched me. Oh,
Ow,
get out of
I'm
there!
stuck.
Alright,
Okay.
missed. Crashed. Oh, he still had stam.
See that. Careful. He's
All right.
outside of camp.
I'm stuck. I'm out. He was searching for a defensible position. Anywhere that he thought we'd fear to attack. The first cliff he chose wasn't nearly high enough. I've met true cliffs before. I know true fall damage. Fall damage in Path is child's play. Nice! Perfect. Got him.
Careful.
Good. I'm stuck.
You good?
Yep. I can take a further fall than he can. He went further out, found a more dangerous cliff. And that's when I remembered that I had shove. I pushed him off the cliff to my great delight. Sure, I took more fall damage, but I wasn't worried. Now realizing the power of our shove, cliffs were too scary. The Iggy started seeking a better option again. Onward he ran, seeking any tight space he could try to trap us in. Any rough area he could use to prevent further attacks. He was severely injured, but so were we. We needed to be more careful now. Unfortunately, this was also when we discovered how much faster Iggy heals than Sado does. The battle ranged even further, until he found a little hole to back himself into. We both went in, but I got stuck behind him. Thank goodness for my shove ability. I was able to get back out, but I was not healthy anymore. I went to lay down and heal while Farmer kept the pressure on. He swam out onto a little sandbank, just far enough out that we'd be out of stamina trying to follow. And he laid down. Well, there was no food or water for him there, we figured. We could wait him out. Or we thought we could. He swam back, took a couple hits, and fled. But you see, here's the thing. We are not easily shaken. And so when he opted to swim across the entire inlet, we simply raced around the long way and still found him on the other side. Our own food was getting to be dire after such a long hunt, though, so Farmer went to find some AI quickly while I kept an eye on it. Ultimately, realizing that we were not going to give up, he turned and fled into the ocean again, this time going for the far island, a place we could never dream of following on our Serados. Well, that's unfortunate. Following the loss of the Iggy, we returned to Dried Lake alongside a random Serado. As we hunted AI, a hats followed us around from tree to tree. Look, I don't like hats. I remain traumatized by them on Arazoa's servers, and them being around made me very nervous. And so naturally, when it landed on a rock, Farmer went up that rock and tried to shove it off. His injury made the hats come down onto the ground, and that was exactly the opening we needed. Who needs AI when you can have an entire hats? On the move between Green Valley and Dried Lake, we crossed paths with a group that had been slaughtering anything that moved beside the lake. See, they were working on raising a brand new little titan, taking trophies to help him grow faster. And so, when they came for Farmer but didn't see me, I was able to get the jump on their conch. And with a bit of ducking and weaving, we managed to make the Titan kill Arakillo. With that small victory, we rushed away, leaving them to clean up the mess. Only a very short while later, we had entered Dried Lake again, healing up from our encounter. Of course, that was when we spotted the Stego. Okay, now there's an interesting fight. We rushed in, only for an adult Rex to come wandering in. Previous experience on officials warned us to be cautious. They might be together. And then the Stego ran away. So there we were, healing up again, preparing to attack the Rex, when the Stego came rushing back down the hill at me. Okay. So I guess the fight wasn't over. The new problem, though, was the Rex wanted so badly to help. And we didn't want to mix pack, because despite the community and the game being much more permissive about it, the culture shock is real and the dislike for mix packing is strong. And so, while the Rex fought, we stood back, watching. And when he couldn't catch the faster Stego and gave up, we went back to our fight. Except then the Rex came up the hill. Oh, he wanted the fight. Apparently, if we wanted to fight the Stego, the Rex was going to be a feature in it. Ultimately, we gave up on trying to fight without his involvement. However, with our water getting lower by the second and the Stego making his way toward the valley, we were getting nervous. And then the mix pack from before came out of the woodwork. Well, there goes our fight. After grabbing water, we sat down to watch the area and heal. With the mix pack after the Stego and probably the Rex, we weren't too concerned. And then we saw one of the Titans on its way toward us. We were still much too injured. This was not a fight we were prepared to take. Except then we noticed that the Titan was carrying a trophy. Oh boy, things were about to get wild. Their baby Titan came in to take the trophy, and our new target was acquired. Well, it wasn't the victory we had sought, but it was the victory we needed. And for just a little extra spice, the Ramp managed to steal the trophy and fly away with it. No trophies for Titans today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and comment your thoughts below. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more content like this. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.